Well, I went to a swap shop, and as I was at the swap shop, some guy had crashed this airplane, and he had brought it to the swap shop, and he wanted like nothing for it. So I figured for the motor, the servos, the speed controller, I'd give it a shot. So I brought it home, set it on the bench, got to looking at it, and I said, "Man, let me get all of this electronics out of it and take another really good look at it." So I figured, hey, here's a really good project. If you crash one, do you just go out and buy another one, transfer everything over? Or how hard would it really be to repair it? The time that took me to do this is approximately 3 hours from the time I dismantled it to the time I had it ready to recover. So let's kind of go through this. As you see, I'm cutting the monocoat away. I'm dismantling the electronics, getting them out of my way so that I can see exactly how much damage there is to the frame. And what we need to do is go back and we'll just start gluing our pieces back in and try to fit them in the best we can. Now, granted, I didn't pick this plane up, so I don't have all the pieces. Some of them I'm going to have to fit myself. One thing whenever you're putting one back together is you're going to have to brace behind your splices or where you glued your pieces together. That'll give the strength back to the fuselage before you cover it. Now, you'll notice as I'm going on here, you're going to notice as I get all of my pieces in, and I know I've sped this up because it takes a long time and it's really boring. It's like watching paint grow or paint dry or grass grow. Anyway, we got a whole new problem here with just gluing it in. I found the CA glues do a nice job. And again, it's just a matter of after I stripped off the monocoat and looked for it, I started putting pieces together. Here I'm realigning the fuselage, putting the two halves together, and all of a sudden I got something that looks like an airplane fuselage. Now I'm going on in, I'm looking at other parts. I had to strip parts off the motor, found other pieces laying in the crash material, and here you go. I've got a fuselage already reassembled. Now, as you'll notice these cracks where I glued it back together, I'm going to have to come back in from the back side and I'm going to have to reinforce them. As you see where there's pieces missing, I have to go back and I have to repair those so that whenever the monocoat goes on, I get a nice looking job. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to start fitting pieces, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can't get this thing strong, if not stronger than it was when it was new. And as you noticed in the beginning of the canopy, there's not much I'm going to be able to do with that. But once I've got it to this point, now I'm going to go ahead and take my balsa stripper, as you see the blue thing just to my right there. I stripped me off a piece of balsa of 3/32 balsa wood because that is the thickness of the material of the sides. I've come back. I measure my little pieces. I cut them large. Go ahead and get them glued in. And this is one of the easiest ways I've found to go ahead and make one look like new again. And we go ahead and we fit the pieces. Now, once I get mine, I need straight edges to glue it to so it'll be fairly strong. So I'm going to set it in place. I'm going to see what I've got. I'm going to come back with my razor blade and trim it up to where it fits in really nice. Once it's fitting in really nice, then I'm going to go ahead and glue it in. And it's going to look nice, really. And I mean, I can come back and I can trim the edges and make it look like the original, but I'm going to use just regular red monocoat here, so I don't have to go through all that effort. I got this, like I said, from a swap shop for nothing, almost nothing. And by nothing, I'm talking about under $10. And what I've got going on here is the motor, the speed controller, the servos, they were definitely worth that. But if I can get this fuselage put back together and flying, it'll definitely be a good investment. Now, here you see me kind of painstakingly taking my time trying to get these pieces cut. And then you're going to see me start putting pieces to the inside to reinforce. Here goes one right on the inside where you saw those two cracks on the side of the fuse. I'm going to fit that in. I'm going to push it up tight. And then I'm going to glue this in from both sides so that I've reinforced those two breaks there. Now that'll never show on the outside of this aircraft. Now, once I get this in place and I get it forced in, I'm using thin CA here. Thin CA works really great for this. Of course, I'm stingy, so I'm not going to waste any. And now I'm going to go ahead and just keep working the aircraft, keep turning it, looking at things I need to fix. And as you can see, it's already looking to be like a fuselage again. It's come out nice and straight. I'm back in gluing more places where I think I need more reinforcement. And I'm gluing the underside of that piece I added. And here's some more places here that need little pieces. I'll go ahead and take my razor blade, cut it off square, fit it on in there. Now I'm purposely trying to match the grain here so that it'll be the same strength. Now, as you see there, I put it as, that's not right, but I'm gonna put it as an opposite grain because I got to reinforce the inside too. After I get this in, you'll see that coming right up. Now, once I get this in, nice square cuts as you watch. There we go. Fit it in there, get it to lay down, cut it a little more. And here we go. And then it goes. I get that in place. I get it moving smooth. And then we're going to sand it whenever it's all done with. I just continuously do this until I've got the fuselage all together. Now, once the fuselage all gets back together, I'm going to do the second part of this video because this is already going to be almost 14 minutes. I'll do the second half to where I cover this and I get ready to put the electronics back in it, and I go to get the wings put back on it, make sure I get it balanced. Balance is imperative. And then we'll see if we can't get it to the flying field and fly it. In part 2, I'll have the flying video for it. And I'm going to cheat a little bit here and tell you it flew phenomenal. I gave it to my grandson just because for shits and giggles because he wanted to try a 3D. And he took it up and just run it through the ringer. After he run it through the ringer, as you'll see in the video, I've got no doubts about the structure quality of this aircraft. And here we're back in. You're watching me put in the gusset and reinforcement pieces. Now, mind you, behind this balsa wood, it doesn't matter because the covering material is not going to let you see that. And once it's covered and it's back together and flying in the air, nobody has an idea what's on the inside. And the reason I'm saying that is the main thing is to get this structure airworthy again. And if it only takes a few hours of just, playing with a puzzle, putting all the pieces back in place, then do so. I mean, I maybe have at the most $5 invested in putting this thing back together as far as monocoat and the little sticks I use. And they're all scrap sticks. And then a little bit of glue. And as you're watching here, I know I've fast forwarded and sped it up and slowed it down for these parts. I wanted to really emphasize getting the structure, the substructure put back in it so that it has the same strength as it did or more than whenever it was new. This is that like cheap Chinese bass or balsa or whatever it is. And of course, it's brittle as the dickens. So everything I'm putting back in it, I know is stronger than what it was. We got to put down for this servo tray here where the parts broke away from it. And like I said, just keep going on. You'd be surprised how fast this goes. Put you on a good movie or listen to some good music, sit back, and before you know it, if you've noticed the tools I'm using, I've got glue, I've got a razor blade, I got an X-Acto knife, and then you're going to see me with a sanding pad here in a minute, sanding all these edges off so that whenever I do cover it, it's really going to look sharp. Now, as I continue to go on, it's really looking good, and we're going to get it all back together and straight. We're going to be fitting the canopy up to see if I've done a really great job or not with putting the sides back together. Because if the canopy fits it, then the cowl fits it, then I know for a fact that it did well. Like I said, there's not much I'm going to be able to do with that canopy. You can see it up there in the upper right. It's busted beyond. I glued what pieces that I could find back together. But what that'll do is that'll give me a shape so that I can take me a block of balsa wood and carve it out. And then I take me a soda bottle, and then there's plenty of people that show you how to do a canopy with a soda bottle. And I can wrap the soda bottle around it, and I can just take my heat gun and shrink it down against the piece of balsa wood that I carved out. And then, look there. You see me putting in some more gusset pieces behind it there. And, my big fat fingers, I try to get them in there. Now, this right here is a piece of the trim. Now, if you miss a piece, not a big deal. But if you're going to try to get this back as in great a shape as you can, because the stronger you make this, whenever you put the covering on it, it even gets stronger. And this being a 3D high-powered aircraft, you're going to want to be pulling some torque with it, a lot of rolls. You're going to take it from flat level, almost dead flight, and go just jerk it up on its nose and hold it there. But that's the type of aircraft this is. Now, as you see here, I'm twisting the shit out of this thing. And you notice nothing pops off, nothing breaks loose. I know I've got this back. Now, one of the ways helps me to keep them straight is I build on a glass top. Your table that you're working on needs to be flat. It'll help you so much. These little sponge sanders here, they're so great to sand. And while I'm sanding it, I happen to notice right under my hand there, missed another piece. I'll put it in a minute. But all I got to do is sand this down nice and smooth. I found a spot there where I want to put just a little more glue. Then I'm going to come back and double check as you saw, the gusset piece. I'll sand on it some more and make sure everything looks like it's there. Everything's looking straight. That's what I did. Of course, it was off frame. I was looking down it to make sure it was straight. Now here we go with the cowl or the canopy. Now it slides into the front. That worked. And let's see. Oh, look at the way that side lined up. We have it. The other side I'll look at here in a minute. Unfortunately, the top of where the cowl fits is a little bent in from the crash. So I'm going to bend it back. Now, of course, I'm going to heavy thumb it here in a minute and crack it because you know I'm going to get it back straight. But I'm very happy with the way that fits now. I'm going to set it aside. Make sure I've got my sanding done. I'm going to look it over, rest for a minute, just kind of look at my handiwork. We got a piece. See? This is what you do by just going around and double checking your work. Once you've found all of the pieces you want, you get them glued in, then you're ready to have at it again. Now here in a minute, we're going to have it all back together. I've already got my strength back. This that I'm doing right now is just decorative, so my monocoat will look good. If you'll notice the holes where this comes through, where the wings fit onto it, they're the only part that shows. The rest of this is going to show around the wing. And you could have seen that in the very first videos or the first pictures of the video. But let's just continue on here with this. Anyone can do what I'm doing here. Anybody that's had any gluing experience or any experience at all, just gluing a model kit together, that's basically all I'm doing. I'm just substituting new pieces for ones that I don't have or couldn't find. Once I get this in place and I get started on the second video, and we'll show you how to monocoat it. I'll show you how to put all the stuff in it, and then we'll show it at the flying field flying. So you get to watch an aircraft. It took me approximately 5 hours from the time I started to the time it was ready to go to the flying field. Now, I can't really overemphasize this. I've tried to speed up. If you have questions, you know that you can always email me at the Scratch Builder, and I'd be more than happy to answer you and clarify anything that I may have glossed over unmeaning to. But I've done this since 1978, and before that, it was with the little old Yukis. So here's where I'm pushing it back into place. See there, I broke it, so it was straightened. Come back in, fill it in with glue, just like I did the rest of the model. After this, I'll check it to make sure that it's clear, or it's a clean, good, solid joint. As you see, I got the motor all put back together. The motor mount was just destroyed. Fuselage was destroyed. I have me an airplane here that's ready to fly.